What's up, everyone? Welcome to Comics League Indie Wednesday. I'm Jared, and today, as promised, I know I've been hyping up this for a long time. And first off, I want to say thank you to Nick from the Phoenix Press for getting me interested in this series because when I had him on the channel a couple of times, the earlier times before he basically became a co-host of Comics League, he used to always tell me about this series called Witchblade. And I was like, oh, okay. I was at my LCS one day, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check this series out. Very glad I did because it's freaking awesome. So we're talking about Witchblade from Image Comics. This one is written by David Wohl and art by one of my favorite comic book artists of all time, Francis Manapul. So, again, I just want to get. I know I do this every time I cover an Image book, but I really want to just make sure I give you guys all the information because we at Comics League believe in giving you all the information. So Image Comics was formed, and what eventually happened was each of the founders formed their own comic book houses, essentially their own like independent comic book studios. Now, Marc Silvestri had Top Cow, and I believe one of his flagship books was a book called Witchblade, and it's about this cop. And she essentially has this, basically a watch that essentially, when she's in combat, forms around her and creates like very like female character in a video game armor and weapons and such. And she's basically, let me see, she'd be like, I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna leave this to you. Which DC character do you guys think that Witchblade is? I could see her sort of as a mix between Wonder Woman and Zatanna because it seems kind of magical, but still. So, and what's interesting, this book exists in the same continuity as Fathom and Top Cow Tomb Raider because there's been plenty of crossovers in that book and in many of these issues, and they reference each other. So that's actually really cool. That's why when I covered, I think it was the Fathom Tower Records edition a little while ago, Witchblade shows up in that book as like a character that they pan to. So anyway, so we're going to cover Witchblade. So the way this is going to work, since I still don't have the comic camera working, I'll just hold up the art as I get to it. So we open up, we have this dude named Ian. He's like, apparently he's being held hostage, and he's actually being talked to by Witchblade. I'm trying to remember what her name is essentially, and essentially, apparently they're in love and stuff, and then he's apparently being tortured by this Ra's al Ghul looking dude, like right there. And this dude manifests the Witchblade and kills everyone. Look at that! Look at that! So then we cut in and we have Witchblade's name is Sara. All right, so Sarah's a cop, and she's essentially. So she walks into her she walks into, sorry about this. She walks into her her boss's office, and he's essentially assigning her on a murder case and such. Then she apparently has this like, okay, wait, let me put the label. So, okay, you know how kind of like in Star Wars, Force users can like sense each other, kind of? That's what this is showing up. She can kind of sense Ian like in pain and sort of manifesting powers and stuff. So she moves out. And she moves out on her own because she knows that this is eventually going to get ugly. She knows that her partner is not equipped for this situation. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go take care of this. You stay here. Because she doesn't want the partner to die and it be her fault. It wouldn't, but in her mind, it would be. So then we have the Ra's al Ghul dude meeting this like more emo Dick Grayson looking dude. I don't know if it gives you the name of this. Oh, okay, so Kenneth Irons. Oh, it's kind of like Jeremy Irons. So dude shows up, and then a face to another panel. Sara is investigating the site of some like big like explosion looking thing where like there's lots of destruction, bodies are missing and such. And she moves out. Okay, this is when she separates from her partner because she's like, I don't want you to get hurt. I know what this is, but I'll tell you what, you go over there and you go like see if you can jump any leads. I'm gonna go further and investigate that. So she gives him something to do. He's not just there twiddling his thumbs. So at this point, we see that so this assassin character is reporting to Kenneth that he killed Ian. And then eventually the conversation gets to, I'm going to kill you too. Unfortunately, he misses. He tries to charge at him, but Ian just sidesteps right there and is like, "No, you're not going to kill me." But then Ian shows up and he goes, "Okay, do you want?" And by the way, the assassin's name is Tora. So he goes, "Okay, wrong again." The dude goes, "You're a dead man." Then Ian goes, "Wrong again, Tora. Care for another go at it?" In other words, you want to try and kill me again? Let's go, dude. So then Sarah goes to is picked up by her partner, and they go to visit this old lady whose son was essentially a serial killer, kind of. And they get because the son is their prime suspect in these murders they're investigating. And he basically she basically explains the whole story to him to them that. When Anderson's name, he said something about the Statue of Liberty. So it's essentially they give him the location of where these guys are. But the thing is that as they're driving, it turns out that the partner is actually working for the bad guys, and he aims a gun at Sarah. Then the Witchblade manifests, and then they get into a car accident, and that's where the issue ends. Not a bad issue. The art's fantastic by Manapul. It's the story's very really interesting, and I will try and I have more issues of Witchblade I want to cover. I want to see how this episode does. But if you guys want to see more Witchblade, drop in the comments. Drop whatever like other indie books you want to see. Next week, I'm thinking of covering the actual Invincible comics, since you guys obviously enjoyed the cartoon review that I did. So I'm going to try and because I'm going to my comic book store this Saturday, so I'll see if I can pick up one of the like compendiums. Now, on that note, I'm not going to end it here yet, but remember, this Saturday, we are on Snyder Saturdays, we are covering the best superhero movie of all time, Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're going to cover the plot. We're going to cover our favorite moments. By the way, when you guys show up to the live stream, bring like a list of your favorite moments, and then we'll talk about it at the end of the live stream. So remember, this Saturday is Zack Snyder's Justice League. So on that note, I just want to continue going through this. So once again, thanks Nick for turning me on to this series. I very much enjoy it. It's really fun. It's a really unique idea, and that's why I like Image Comics, because particularly Image Comics by that are of the founders' ideas. Because obviously this wasn't written or drawn by Silvestri, still trying to find those issues. But when these guys left Marvel and DC, well, really Marvel, and then told DC we're never going to come work for you. That's the story. They went to DC, and DC was like, oh my gosh, we're getting all this rich talent. And then they go DC, no, we're never coming to work for you. And then they're like, what? So anyway, what I like a lot about the Image founders is that when they formed Image, they had all these like really cool ideas that they started with books. And actually, I have like the first 3 issues of Wildstorm, so I might cover those for Indie Wednesday as well. If you guys won't want to cover that, I have the first issue of Youngblood. I'll cover that. And there's like tons of different different Image founder comics that I definitely want to cover, because I think that those are some of the most important books in comics. Because here's the thing. When you look at what these guys did to comics, I mean that in a good way. I'm not saying they destroyed comics. What I'm saying is that they fundamentally changed the way that art's done, the way story's done. They definitely, by them succeeding on their own, first off, they paved the way for more indie comic book creators to be able to like make a living being indie comics. Because here's the thing. Back then, pre-Image, it was just Marvel or DC if you want to work in if you want to have an actual job in comics. So that's what made this so important, is that they showed that no, you could do comics on your own. And that's the first thing. And also they challenged a lot of the norms when it came to comics, because you had these characters with like big guns, like supremely Hulk level jacked characters, girls in very seductive poses, like very dynamic action. They really challenged every norm of comics, and they actually went against the Comics Code Authority. And Todd McFarlane tells the story about how, like when he was doing his Spider-Man run, they would constantly tell him, Todd, this goes against the Comics Code Authority. And then Todd legitimately asked, do any of you guys have any idea what's in the Comics Code? And they couldn't give him a definitive answer. So he's like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I want. That's it. I'm done. So, again, that's again one of the fantastic things about Image, because they set out to challenge all those norms that had honestly held back comics. Because remember, comic sales tanked under the Comics Code Authority. Thank God we don't have that anymore. So on that note, I definitely enjoyed. I love Witchblade. This is one of the issues one of the series that I've started collecting the old stuff first, because I want to really like get to know the character first before I jump into the new stuff. But I'm definitely enjoying it. I love the art for one thing. Image Comics, and particularly Top Cow, has some of the greatest artists I think in comics. It's very high level. It's been described as like boutique art, and I definitely agree with that. Remember, Michael Turner was from Top Cow, and that should give you all you need to know about what fantastic art they have. And it's definitely one of the. I think Top Cow is starting to become my in my top 5 of favorite comics publishers. Because remember, love Fathom, I love Witchblade for one thing, and they have, and it's like some of the best art I've seen forever. So it's now up there as one of my top favorite comics, like comic houses, I guess I'll call it, because Image is the publisher, but Top Cow is like a division under, not really division under Image, but it's like an independent arm of Image. So again, love Witchblade, and I think that's a good place to leave it. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any other like Image books or actually Witchblade books you want to recommend to me to really get into the character, drop in the comments. I'll check it out and I'll give you a shout out when I cover that book. And remember, this Saturday is the Zack Snyder's Justice League stream. I expect to see you all there in the chat. It'll be me, Nick, Taladia Plays, and Taladia Plays' his co-host, DC Comics Gamer, and we're going to talk about all things Zack Snyder's Justice League. The greatest superhero movie of all time. I don't care what you anti-Snyder people say. Now, on that note, I know I say on that note a lot, but with that said, I'm going to bring this video to an end, and I will see you in the next episode. Stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.